Hey, your heads up to this 5-minute quickie. Isn't it nice to know that you are doing things right? Or there are people that you don't know who are highly respected are doing the same things that you've been doing for years. It's a wonderful validation to know that you're just doing the right things. And that's what's happened now. Have a listen and I'll explain all with a load more how-tos.
Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hey, welcome back to Personal Development Unplugged. It's your friend Cluffy Paul here. And let me go back, rewind that I don't know if you get this, but do you get times when you think to yourself, am I doing this right? Am I doing the right things? You see, I know what I do works, and it certainly works for me. And therefore, if it works for me, I think it should work for everyone. I've also seen as I've taught it to clients, it works. Now, the thing is, sometimes it's not that, it's a sort of imposter thing, where we feel like an imposter and being found out. But you see, I've had it confirmed the other way now. And the thing is, you're going to say, what the hell are you talking about, Cluffy? Again, you've gone off on this vague introduction. And I love vague introductions because I want you to start to to think, to get curious. What's he going to say next? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to say next. That's the whole point of a podcast, I guess. You see, one morning, as I do, I walk our little dog. And it's got a lovely walk. It's called Fisherman's Walk. And it's a lovely area with trees, really nice trees, grass, lovely little winding path going round, a little bandstand in one side. And it's absolutely awesome. Lovely place to walk. And you see, this day I was walking, the sun was just dappling through the leaves because they're really big trees. In fact, sometimes you can hear a woodpecker. I've never seen the blooming thing, but you hear it just tapping away. Quite weird. Well, it's not weird. It's lovely. And there I was walking little Carla. She's walking really slowly, but it's nice and warm. And it's reasonably early morning, so I'm just waking up listening to a podcast. That's what I do when I walk my dog. Everyone says, there's old Cluffy with his earphones on. He never sees or hears anybody. I just walk. And that's me just zoning out, I guess. And it feels good. And there I am listening to this podcast. And it's the Tim Ferris podcast, which is awesome. But he's interviewing this guy called Josh Waitzkin. Now, he authored a book called Art of Learning. And the actual thing what got me into listening to this particular episode was its title. And I know titles drag you in, don't they? They lure you in. And it says, how to cram 2 months of learning into one day. I've got, that's got to be something. And this guy, when you read the notes, he's been world champion at pushing hands and martial arts. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu and other stuff. And he does really high performance stuff. And what he does now, he teaches elite mental performance in business and finance. And I thought, this is just something I got to listen to. And there I am, walking really nice and slowly in the sunshine. Nice little breeze as well. The air is so fresh. And the guy goes, well, one of my main things is I get to do and I get people to ask questions of themselves and then let them germinate, as it were, at the unconscious level. So when you come back to them, it's as if the answer comes. And I thought to myself, I'm not an imposter. I've been doing this for bloody years. If you notice, if you go back through most of these podcasts, there's a theme that says you've got a best friend inside your unconscious mind. And if you ask it a question, it will tell you the answer. And you see, the whole point of this is thinking, well, It's you ask a question and then you go away. You let that question go inside. You go and do something different. I know my son, he loves, if he's got a problem like that, he's got an issue he wants to ask, he will ask himself a question and then go for a run. And just by doing something completely different, and it's a physical thing, his mind's elsewhere, he said, I just get inspiration, Dad. I suddenly get answers. Well, yeah, that's because we do the same type of stuff, Joe. And we cultivate those type of processes together. I ask clients to think, before they come and see me for a session, what it really means to them to change. What will it mean to them to have changed already? When they have the change, what would it mean to them? I said that 3 different ways. But what I ask them to do is ask themselves that question and then go away. Go and do your day. Doesn't matter what it is, your normal day. And then maybe at lunchtime or in the evening when you come back, you have a little piece of paper and a pen and you write down the answer. Write down the answer because I want to see it. But also it keeps that process going. And they come back and say, well, the first one was a little bit difficult, but the second time and the third time, because I asked them to repeat it, answers just started flowing. And some of the answers were exactly right, but what I would never thought about them consciously. Okay, because that's letting things germinate. And your best friend, when you ask it the question, always comes back. I also do it with mind maps. If I'm mind mapping an issue for myself or a project, I always have in the middle because my mind maps are slightly different, I guess, but maybe not. But I put the title of the project or what I'm trying to do, and then I'll do a couple of sidelines. And then as I've done one of those side titles, maybe the subsidiary categories or something, I'll do a couple of lines off and not answer them. And I'll just say to myself, I wonder what would be the best area to go into. I wonder what I could do to improve this area to make it so good. And then leave it. Work on another part of that mind map. Do the same thing with that, leave a couple of lines off. And then when I come back the next day, I look at that, and as I'm reading the mind map, I go, oh yeah, and then there's this to add on, and I fill in those blank lines. Because my unconscious mind has gone away, gone through all my little resources, all my memories, all the things I know, all the things I've listened to and heard and experienced that I've forgotten or I didn't even know I was listening to, maybe, what I've read, and has come back with some wonderful answers because I've let it do that. I love doing this using hypnosis. Certainly I just ask the unconscious mind to go out and go and find what it needs to change. And when you're ready, to do it. But I also ask the question of myself, to my unconscious mind, before I see a client. I always ask my unconscious mind, what would it be like to use all my skills? Use all my skills, the ones I've learnt and know about consciously, and all my unconscious skills, communication skills, hypnosis skills, everything, to make the most dynamic change in this client, to get what they want, to make it bigger, better, and quicker than they ever thought possible, to enjoy the process and to learn, and to do it all in a particular time. Then I forget about it. And then I go and work with that client. And guess what? As I'm coming to the end, I have a little peek at my watch. And there we are, within a few minutes either side. We're getting there right on time. Now, you remember those questions I love to ask. What would it be like? What would it be like to be able to do this? Which is a bit like me with my hypnosis clients, but, what would it be like if this was easy? What would it look like if this was easy? But the thing is, we let it go for a moment or two. But every one is a question to our unconscious mind. We're not asking other people. We could do. And when we do, it'll go into their unconscious minds. But just letting things germinate for a bit. Just maybe, as Joseph does, go for a run. Maybe just meditating. Maybe just read a book. Maybe just go away just for 5 minutes. And all I believe you have to have is the intention. And you have that in spades, bucket loads. Because when you're asking the question, you're asking it for a reason. So you have your wonderful positive intention for yourself, which your unconscious mind will get. And when you get to do this, you just have to have belief in your best friend. And I do. I believe 100 million% that every question I ask, I will get an answer. Sometimes the answer doesn't come as a sentence saying, "Hey, Cluffy, brilliant question. Now here's the answer." But it'll be by intuition, maybe. Maybe I see the book, or open up a book and I find the right page, or someone is there, I ask a question of them, or suddenly when I'm thinking about something else, I suddenly get, you could do that, Paul, so I quickly make a note of it, or I go to that mind map, because I just believe it's going to happen. It will happen. I don't know what modality it will happen, but it will happen. But having said all of that, and this was just triggered by me being curious about somebody teaching elite mental performance and thinking, that's what we do. It's so nice to know that I'm part of that type of process, and I'm sharing that process with you. So I feel really confident and competent of sharing the information I have, because it's being validated to me. And this is not just the only process I've had validated. There's so many other things. So I'm feeling, this is the thing to do, to share with you these wonderful processes that although I know work, people who I'm not talking to, I'm hearing doing similar things. Maybe we got it from the same root cause, as it were, from a different area, and found it in different ways. But the processes just work. So I just wanted to share that with you, just to give you that little bit of confidence that the type of things we do are being validated day in, day out. It's very hard to get evidence that these work, other than my own personal evidence that I see in myself and clients, and the feedback I get from yourselves. So here's the thing. What I'd love you to do now is to just reconsider, remember these type of questions, this type of process, and just do it on a regular basis, just bit by bit. So maybe if you're going to a particular, a meeting or something, just ask yourself, what would it be like to have whatever type of skills you want, whatever type of states, emotions you want, let it go and notice what happens. Oh, I also remember the other thing I use hypnosis for. When I work with clients, I give them a hypnosis track to carry on the good work. We don't do what we've done. It's all about going into the future and carrying it on. But I say to them, once you've got that and everything's fine, if you've got an issue, and you just go and play that hypnosis track to yourself. But just before you do, just remind your unconscious mind, well, we've got this little bit of a problem and I'm not quite sure where to go. I've got these different solutions or opportunities, but I'm not quite sure. I'm going to hand it over to you while I listen to this hypnosis track. And when I finish, I'd love you to just give me the answer. I wonder what the answer would be. What would be the best way? Leave it, go into hypnosis, and in that 20 minutes, your unconscious mind can go and do all that wonderful work. And again, it's as if you just know the answer when you come out, or you start doing the answer, or you suddenly have that intuition. That was the other thing I use hypnosis for. So it just seems to work. And what I'm doing is not just doing this one thing. And this is a bit I got more confident about, and more, not big-headed, a little bit. I felt really good about myself, is not only I'm just doing this one thing by just asking a question and leaving it, but I've got different modalities of using that process. We've adapted it into mind maps with clients, with problems, with hypnosis, all sorts of things coming from the same little seed that's germinated into different ways of using that type of process, using your best friend that knows so much. Believe and trust and have that wonderful positive intention. So I'd like you to just practice it bit by bit, baby steps, and you'll see that it works too. And the more you do it, the more you'll do it unconsciously, but the more you do it consciously and unconsciously, it becomes second nature to ask those questions. I ask them out loud and then just let them go. And you will do that too, and you'll get the answers. And obviously, I'd love you to share this, because if you share this with other people who've got issues, or just share this skill with them, tell them where you got it from. I'd love them to hear this podcast and the episodes in it. But when you're explaining it to them, you're teaching them, and you're learning yourself even more deeply when you share this type of things. But tell them where you got it from. It's always good to do that. And if they could subscribe, as you have done, haven't you? That would be awesome. That word awesome comes in. And just ask as many questions as you can, bit by bit. And I just got one little thing. I've had a brilliant question by somebody. I'm not going to say their name yet because I haven't really got it all together, but it's all about performance anxiety. So I'm taking my time because I really want to do that really well. So if you have any performance issues, you could either send me an email so I can make sure I cover those different areas. Performance issues are performance issues. Okay? So go do that. Have more fun than you can stand. And I'll speak to you real soon. Just before you go, if you've just got a second or two, please have a listen. Why don't you share this? Share this podcast with just one person today, and then one person tomorrow, and one person after that. What would happen if we all did that? And why not subscribe? It's so easy to do. Find the platform of your choice. If it's iTunes or it's Castbox or any others, there's loads of them. Search for either Paul Clough or Personal Development Unplugged, and then there's a big subscribe button. Press that subscribe button, and it'll be there. You get the podcast twice a week, on a Wednesday and a Saturday. Never have to look any further. And if you would, why not put one of those reviews up? Because that would be awesome, because that just moves it around this integrated field of learning, as it were, and becomes and gets in front of other people. Which is what we want, isn't it? To be the change we want to see in others and help others change to be the change they want to see in themselves. There you go. I'm going to speak to you real soon. Hope you enjoyed it. Have fun. Enjoy every heartbeat.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.